welcome in our Storyplay'r webinar for teachers. Today I will introduce you to our platform, our reading aid tools, as well as our library and of course all of the teachers' functionalities. First of all, who is Storyplay'r? Storyplay'r is an online library with more than 2,000 French books with an audio version, and we also have some books in English, in German, in Spanish, and in Arabic. All of our books are sent by our partner publishers, which are in a great majority French or French-speaking. We have books from the ages 3 to 15. Something important to note is that the category 13 to 15 is actually a recent addition to the catalog after many requests, notably by teachers, to have books for middle schoolers and especially books in French literature, classic books. So I will let you discover them in this category, and we will come back to the catalog in just a minute. Storyplay'r also created a reading aid module, which is composed by many tools that will help reading for young children, but also for children with difficulties, such as dyslexic children, but not only. Once again, I will show you all of the reading aid tools, of course, in just a minute. As you can see here, we also have many teachers' functionalities, such as reading challenges, so that children can read books from home as homeworks, for example. But once again, I will show you that later. So first of all, to access the catalog, you have different solutions. First of all, you have the button here, Ages, with the different ages category if you're looking for specific age. Second, you have the button here, Library, which will open once again the different ages. Here, the English catalog. Here you have the button Awards, which I will show you just now. It's different awarded books. And it also includes the list of books recommended by the French Ministry of Education. But you also have different awards. Going back to that button Library, you also have all of the themes that are also themselves cut down by sub-themes, basically. Lastly, you have here the search bar where you can look for a specific book, a specific theme, for example, loup, if you want wolves, stories related, etc. We're now going to go to the home of the library. So you click on Library and then Home. You have this page that will appear. You have here the new editions, which are moving, so we add new books every week. Below you have the last stories read, so of course this is personal to each account. Below you have the most read stories of the week, so this is the favorite basically of our users. And finally you have all of the different themes. I will show you how is presented one theme for an example, but obviously all of the themes are presented the same way. So let's take this one for example. We have fable, myth, literature and poetry, and below here you have all of the sub-themes. So you can click on one if you like, but you also have a preview basically of them if you scroll. Now let's take this one, we can click on see more, and here we have all of the La Fontaine's fables. Once again, all of the subcategories are presented the same way, and now I'm going to show you a presentation of one book, and this is again the same for every book, obviously. So here we have the title, below we have the author and the illustrator, and below again some information about the book. Then we have the three buttons, read, listen, record. I will come back to them in a minute to show you all of the different possibilities. Below we have a summary of the book, and then we have different lists. So we have from the same publisher, from the same author and from the same illustrator. When we look on the left here, we have the book cover. We are right now in the book presentation. If we go in recordings, we will see here all of my recordings because I have recorded this book. If I had not, I would only see this part, which is recordings brought by Storyplay'r, and here it's by Thomas. Below we have the button activities, and here we will have a quiz as well as different activities, of course, related to the book. Below we also have add to bookmarks. If you add it, you will find your bookmarks on top of the screen on the button lists, and then you will have here your bookmarks. You also have the new editions, the recordings you have made, as well as the last stories you read. Below, we also have add to blacklist. If you click on this, it means your students will not have access to the book. They will not even see the book in the catalog. You can use that button if you don't want them to see certain themes, for example, or if they're too young for certain stories, etc. Also, we have the button here, buy a paper copy. This will lead you to a selling website. Below, we have here these buttons. They're related to the reading challenges, so I will come back to them later. And of course, below we have the share button and the related searches. Now, when we come back, we have different options. So I'm gonna start with the reading solution. So we start, it loads the story, and here we have the text appearing on the right. On the top of the screen, you have the green button where you can display or not the text. And of course, so here is the book, and you can scroll through the book with the little arrows with your finger and or mouse, but also with the keyboard. We're now going to display the text so that I can show you all of the reading aids that we have. First of all, you will see that some words are in bold as well as underlined. If you click on them, it means it's basically a difficult word according to the age of the book, so you have a definition of the word. Now we have the three buttons here. We have the A, which will change the font. So you have the basic one, Times New Roman, Courier, Open Dyslexic, which is a font made by and for dyslexic people. The T button is to change the size of the text, which will, of course, we offer different levels so that it will be more accessible depending on the support you're on. And lastly, the color button is to change the background color, once again to make it more accessible for children. Lastly, we have the plus button, which will open all of the settings. So, of course, all of the tools can be used together. For this demonstration, though, I'm going to show you them one by one so that it's clearer for you. But the point is to use them together to make the text readable for each student. First of all, we have the button here, syllables, which cuts down the text by each syllables. Below, we have the upper lowercase, which will put it all in uppercase or respect the normal rules. Below, we have line spacing, word spacing, and letters spacing. This will increase the spacing between either the line, the words, or the letters. Once again, we have different levels so that you can really personalize it for each student. Here we have listen to words by clicking on them. When this is on, if you click on any word, you will hear that pronunciation.
Fromage.
Below, we have alternate line colors as well as alternate words colors. pretty explicit. Then the reading ruler, which permits you to follow what you're reading. And it mimics pretty well what a child will do with their finger when they're reading a physical book. And lastly, here we have sentence structure punctuation. This will highlight all of the punctuation of the text. This was for the part on the left. Now on the right, we have this part with different settings. We have first the letters and also the sounds here. We will start with the letters. This will highlight a letter in the text. Of course, you can add different ones, no matter its pronunciation. So here, for example, all of the N's are in purple, no matter their pronunciation. Contrary to that, the sounds button here will highlight the sound, no matter the way it's written. So first of all, we have this button here, which will gray out the silent letters, which are numerous in French, as we know. Also here, we have divided the vowel sounds and the consonant sounds. Once again, you can put them together, but it has to remain readable, of course. So here, for example, the en sound in orange will be written an, en, em, etc., etc. And of course, it goes throughout the whole book. So below here, we have saved the settings. If you do, the settings will be saved even if you log out and log in, for example, in a different computer or something. So it will remain saved until you change them, basically. And then if we quit that and we go through the whole book, of course, the settings are saved. Even if you change the book, if you leave, you go to another book, the settings will remain the same. Now that we hear about the listening solutions, if you click on here, you have different settings. So first you can listen page by page. It means you turn the page yourself. Opposite to that, you have listen continuously. So it means the pages will turn automatically after the audio is finished. And lastly, we have listen to karaoke. This setting will mean that the text will be highlighted at the same time as the audio so that the child will be able to associate both of them. I'm going to show you a demonstration of this one. Also here, for example, you have basically a bookmark. So I'm going to click no this time. Also, now that you're in listening mode, you have the orange button on the top right, and you can change the volume of the sound as well as the playback rate, so you can make it slower or faster. I'm going to lower the volume for the presentation, and now we're going to see what the karaoke does. Maître corbeau sur un arbre perché tenait en son bec un fromage. Maître renard, par l'odeur alléchée, lui tint à peu près ce langage. So that was a quick demonstration. I hope it worked with the screen recording, but I'll let you discover it by yourself, of course. Lastly, we're going to see the record button. So we go back, and here we have record. You click on it and it will be pretty self-explicit. So you have the record button, you click on it. Here you can see that it's recording. If it's a long page, right now it's of course just the cover, but if it's a long page, you can pause, take a breathing and continue. And once you're done, you click stop. Here it's gonna say compression, which means it's saving the audio. And you can go on the next page. Also, you can listen to the recording you just did, see if you're happy with it, and you can re-record if you want. What's important to note is that if you go back and you go to recordings, you will see of course, all of your recording, but you will see one with the date and how much you did. So you did one page, and you can, if you click on modify, you can continue it. So you go back to the next page, you record, and then if we go back again, we'll see that now we have 2 pages. So this means, for example, that you can ask your students to record 1 page per week, 1 page per day, etc. Like you don't have to record all of the book straight away. That's it for the book presentation and our catalog. Of course, I'll let you go through all of the different books we have so that you can find what you want. Now I'm gonna talk to you about the teacher's functionalities. So on the top right, you have the button here, teacher. You click on it and you'll be in your teacher area where you can create student groups and reading lists. First of all, you have to create, of course, the group. Here I have one as an example, but we're gonna create one together. So you click on new group, you have to give them a name, for example, C1, okay, and then here it is. You have the group's code here. If it's too complicated for certain students, especially young ones, you can always edit it, of course. Now to add a student, simply click on add student. You put the name, for example, Mary, and you create a password, and okay. Now the student is created, so for Mary to log into her account, you need to give her the group's code, and then she puts her name and the password, and she'll be logged in. You can also, of course, delete the student if you need to, and the whole group as well, for example, at the end of a term or something. Now that you have created the student group, you can create a reading list. So you click on reading list. As you can see here, I also have some examples, but we're going to create one together. A reading list means that the students can access from home as well. So you click on new reading list. Once again, you have to give it a name. So for example, let's do spring 2025. Okay, and you'll be in the editing page. So now you can put a description, some keywords, what class it is for example. What's really important here is the rallies options. If you do not check any of those boxes, the student will only be able to read the book. If you check here, show audio version, allow recording, and story comprehension quiz, it means that the student will be able to listen, able to record, and able to do the quiz. Below, we have the selected stories. Of course, right now we're just at the very beginning, so for now we don't have any, but we'll see after. Here you have the availability for your student groups. So for the CP, it's a draft. For the C1, it's a draft too. If I wanted to make it available, I just click here, available, and below I save, and it'll be available for them. Lastly, here, the share with other teachers mean, I will come back to that in a minute, but basically it means that the reading list will be shared. Of course, nothing about your student will be shared. It's only the list of books. This is used especially for teachers, for example, who don't have time and they need to just find a list quickly, and they will have yours if you share it, but of course you don't have to. So now, once it's saved, you can now add books to your reading list. So you can, of course, go through the library, the different themes, look for what you want, but you can also just search for something. So it's spring, so I'm just going to look, for example, for spring in French. I will go to this book, it interests me, so I can here click on add to spring 2025. And if I go back to my reading list, spring 2025, I click on the pencil here. And of course, I can see the book, which means it was added. Now for the results, because of course these reading lists are about the result. So here you can see on this one that the test one is available for the CP. There's 3 books here. So I click on results and we can see student 1 didn't read any books, but it did 2 quizzes out of 3. If I go in details, I will see the first book here, Irréel, there was 1 page out of 132 that was read. We also have all of the answers to the quiz. For the second book, same thing, 1 page out of 18, the answers to the quiz and also the recording. So I can listen here to the recording of the student, and also I can display the text if needed. And of course, same thing for the last book. Back to group result. And now, finally, I'm going to talk to you about the shared reading lists. So, as I said, some teachers don't have the time to make their own reading list. So, for example, if we want to look for a spring reading list, we can look for it. Let's look for it in French, search, and then we'll see all of those. Then you click on the I, and so this teacher made this reading list with these 4 books. If I love this, then I can click on add to my reading lists. Up, I go back to reading lists, and I will see this here, Le Printemps des Poètes CE1. And of course now I can edit it as well. So I can allow the audio version, the recording, I can delete 1 book and I add another if I want to, etc. That's it about our teacher's functionalities. Lastly, I also invite you to check our help pages. We have some especially for schools, which are very detailed, and we also have tutorials and videos to help you with anything. Of course, you can also contact us, and we'll be happy to help you. Lastly, we also have here our blog. What can really be interesting is that we have reading lists, especially here. I'm going to switch to French. Here we have reading lists, and we offer different articles with reading lists. For example, learning French, learning English as well, different reading lists, learning how to read in 1st grade, etc. So once again, if you don't have time or if you don't have inspiration, this can be really helpful for you. On the same note, we also send a newsletter to all of our teachers twice a month with a reading list. Usually it's more linked to, for example, the news. It would be around for spring, for Christmas, for the vacation, for summer, etc., etc. This is, once again, to give you some content without taking too much of your time. Lastly, we also have bulk discounts for schools, so do not hesitate to look directly here. You have a free trial as well, and you can try it out yourself for the bulk discount. And we also can edit you a quote if needed, so do not hesitate to contact us. Thank you so much for listening today and for being here. Once again, do not hesitate to contact us. It will be a pleasure, and I wish you a great day. Thank you.